Ohio lawmakers have less than 2 weeks to decide whether or not to raise the voting threshold to change the Ohio Constitution. Trent Croce is in studio and spoke to those for and against the amendment. So Trent, what do they have to say?
Well, Michael, I spoke with both the executive directors for the League of Women Voters and Greater Toledo Right to Life. The League's director says this is undemocratic towards century-old practices. However, the latter say it's time for change and to raise the threshold. House Joint Resolution 1 could soon change the number of votes needed to amend Ohio's Constitution. Republicans in the legislature want to change it to a supermajority of 60% from the current 50% plus one. But as pro-choice proponents work to get a reproductive rights amendment on the fall ballot that would increase access to abortion, Greater Toledo's Right to Life Executive Director Ed Sitter says he supports the choice.
It's time that Ohioans raise the bar, make it much more difficult to amend and to change Ohio's Constitution, just like it is in the national Constitution, just like it is for any significant major vote.
Sitter says regardless of reproductive rights, he supports this amendment because it will strengthen Ohio's Constitution as a whole and make it harder to add any amendments, which he says has been getting to be too much.
So many times people have tried to enact what they should be doing through the legislature by constitutional amendment. Because it was so easy to do that, we have a lot of amendments to Ohio's Constitution.
Jen Miller of the League of Women Voters say they're not taking a stance on the reproductive rights bill. However, Miller says they're strongly opposed to Joint Resolution 1, and unlike Sitter, she says the amendment process is already difficult.
And if this passes, it's simply going to make it harder for citizen groups like the League to have ballot initiatives. But the deep-pocketed dark money groups will still be able to do so.
It's not just the amendments on reproductive rights, but those like pensions for veterans, education, economic development, and conservation projects, she says, could be harder to pass because of House Joint Resolution 1. She says her and the coalition of over 200 organizations will do everything in their power to keep it off the ballot.
We will defeat it. We will launch a robust Vote No campaign because this is more than just one issue. This is democracy itself.
Currently, Florida and Illinois are the only other states that require a 60% supermajority to approve a constitutional amendment. Now, the state is still deciding whether or not to hold the August special election, which House Joint Resolution would be a part of. Reporting in studio, Trent Croce, WTOL 11.